Any changes, additions, or removals? Nope. I have two. An update on Tepperman versus the town. And the bridge update. Oh, bridges update, I should say. Our first job is to approve the minutes from May 19th. And I'll make a motion to approve those.
I would second that.
Any discussion?
Citizen comments. It's one citizen.
Well,
Yeah, no comments.
okay.
No comments? That's easy.
All right, board to review and possibly approve bids for 11 road and bridge repair projects. And I guess the one thing my understanding is that these are FEMA pay. And the second part is that we followed our purchasing policy for FEMA. That's we're good then? Okay.
We have 11 projects that were FEMA approved. We had a formal bid opening. Last week we advertised for a special meeting. In attendance was Larry Lyons, Cherry, our treasurer and FEMA director, our coordinator, and myself. And we opened the bids. One contractor was disqualified because he turned in his bid package too late, not on time, according to the advertisement. So we ended up with 4 bids. We had over 30 bids because most of the contractors bid multiple projects. And we thought it'd be easier to open the bids ahead of time, come up with a list of recommendations for the board to approve instead of sitting here all night going over 30, 40 bids. So that's what we did. And I have a list of recommendations that we're looking for approval on. Now, what I want to share with everybody is that we had 4 or 5 different criteria that we used when we were trying to select the right contractor for the right project. So the first criteria was looking at the bids. We obviously wanted to make sure they were competitive. And the second item we looked at was the FEMA estimate, because FEMA went around on every bridge, did a detailed estimate with quantity of materials, came up with a final number that they would pay for each bridge, and that's what we based our budget on. So if we got a bid that was way lower than the FEMA estimate, and we got a bid that was real close to the FEMA estimate, we considered that bid closest to the FEMA estimate because we felt as a group that we would get a better bang for our buck and it would be a better project. So the FEMA budget was taken into consideration. Second thing we looked at was the workload of contractors, because we know there are other projects out there that are local contractors who bid already have under contract for town work. For example, there's a project up on Round Top that Mike Lyons has already under contract. It's culvert and ditching. There's a project down here in McDonald Road that Jeff Saylor has. It's a bank stabilization project. There's a substantial project going on that's ready to start up on Crown Point Road where Reggie Road comes in. That's Mosier's Excavating, and he's actually going to be starting that, I think, June 7th, 9th. And that road's going to be closed for 2 weeks while he does that project. And we have other work up at Lions Hill we have to consider that we have to do this summer. So there are other projects in town in addition to these FEMA projects that we wanted to make sure we didn't overload one contractor. For example, if one contractor came in and was a low bid on all 11 projects, and that was the only criteria we looked at, and we awarded him all that work, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot because we know we're creating a problem that's going to hurt us down the road. The other thing we looked at was experience and the ability of a contractor for a specific project, because some of them are pretty technical and challenging. And one that comes to mind is the bank stabilization on Hale Hollow Road. When that road got washed out, we put a temporary fix in. But if you haven't been down that road, I would encourage you to, because that drop off down to the riverbank is 40 feet down. And that project involved going down into the riverbed, into bedrock, and drilling 1.5-inch holes every couple of feet for quite a good run down through there, inserting steel rods, and then start filling it up with bigger rock as you work your way up the bank. It's a pretty substantial project.
Is that a machine to drill holes that big?
Huh?
Is that a machine you have to bring down to drill holes that big?
Well, if we could get a rock drill down there, we would, and on track, like you do for blasting. But we'll have to drop hydraulic hoses down and do it by hand. With it. So it's a project. But it just so happens Jeff Saylor did a project exactly like this in Irene. And he did a great job. It held up great. There's not been any issues with it. And we thought he would be a good choice for that project. So we kind of leaned him toward that when we were considering that job and that project. And the other thing is scheduling. We have 4 months to do all this work along with the rest of the town work, because we're supposed to be out of the river or any water by October 1, which gives us 4 months from now. If in the event that a project ran over and we had to apply for an extension to our stream water specialist, we could, but sometimes that jumps through hoops. He doesn't always grant the extension. It depends on weather and a couple other factors. So our goal is to get all this work done by October 1. So having said that, this is our recommended list, and I could start from the bottom up. Each contractor got 3 projects that bid, except for one that got 2. So let me start with Mike Lyons. We recommend he's doing Griffin Road Bridge 41 and Hale Hollow Road Bridge 31, and the total of his package would be $113,925. The second volume of work we have recommended is for Daniels Construction. We have him scheduled for Frog City Bridge 33, Frog City Bridge Small Bridge, and Scout Camp number 17 for $152,700. Then we have Jeff Saylor. We have him down for Dead End Road Bridge 34, Dublin Road Bridge, and the Hale Hollow Slope Failure Stabilization. And that totals $213,450. And finally, we have Waters Construction, who's got the highest volume of work: Scout Camp Bridge 46, Apple Hill Road 32, and Paley Road Bridge 48 for $572,765. And that's
$1 million in bridge work.
I'm sorry? Huh?
I don't think you really.
Okay. Here's the summary of what I just read that we're looking for board approval on. We need to move forward with this so we can start scheduling. For example,
Is this all FEMA money?
it is all FEMA money.
This is all from 23 flood?
Yes, it is. Yep. We need to get going because
Running out of time?
scheduling, running out of time, but scheduling is important too. We haven't contracted any contractors we haven't contacted any contractors about scheduling. For example, I know the Hale Hollow slope stabilization is going to involve road closure, and we want to and intend to schedule that around the closure of 100A. So that loop remains open. So we either got to get with our contractor and see if he can do it before the start of that closure, or we'll have to schedule it after his closure, still making sure we get done by October 1.
And everybody's on the same page about understanding October 1 is the
Yes.
their work done? Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they are. Yep. And that's the news from Plymouth Notch.
That's pretty good news.
It is,
I'd make a
actually.
motion to accept these.
You said we got 30 bids from 30 separate contractors, I mean?
No, 4 contractors have bid 30 some. Each one bid 3 or 4. Some of them bid all 11.
Some bid,
Yeah.
just certain ones.
Yeah. Most of them bid multiple projects. We have all the bids. If somebody wants to go through them, it's public knowledge. We'll sit here and go through them all, but it's going to schedule a couple hours. But we have them and they're available. So what's your pleasure?
My pleasure. It seems like you've already done all the legwork, right?
Yeah, we've given a lot of thought, Keith. A lot.
Arriving at a
We've
suitable
division
division of labor, so to speak.
We followed a procedure, our purchasing policy very carefully because we didn't want to get into a situation where that was questioned. So I'm sure we followed that to the letter, and that should not be a question at all. We followed our purchasing policy.
We have the FEMA money we have will cover all of it, or do we gotta match it?
It's tricky. Basically, there's a 10% pay from the town, but there's also a lump of money, like close to $400,000. It's called mitigation money, in addition to the construction estimates that FEMA did. There is a pool of money called mitigation, which actually allows us, in some cases, if a project ran over the FEMA estimate, we could use some of that mitigation money. But one way to explain the mitigation that I understand it is, consider it a contingency or change order work that may come out in the middle of a project. Or if we just want to expand the scope a little bit, we have this sum of money. For example, if we have a bridge abutment that we're replacing or fixing, and we have to armor the bank, and the plan calls for go 6 or 8 feet each side of that abutment. But we're there on site, and we think that if we went 20 feet each side of that abutment, we would really save ourselves some trouble down the road, and we could use that mitigation money for expanding the scope for things like that. So Larry feels that 10% match, we can cover it some through mitigation money and some through the highway budget without having to go ask for town money. That we think we can. We have bridge money, in our highway department budget that we can use.
Bridge allocation fund.
Yeah, exactly. So we think we can cover it comfortably.
I mean, that's a hell of a deal, and the feds cover 90% of the cost.
It sure
of
is.
bridge work.
It sure is, and before they change their mind, we better jump on it.
Yeah.
Is it part of the same stream of funds from the reimbursement, or it's a different stream of funds, FEMA, this bridge money?
They've already looked at these projects, right?
Everyone.
Yeah, back in 2023.
Yeah.
Ish.
I don't know how to answer that, Keith. I'm not sure what pot it's from.
Do we have to wait on the money, in other words?
I think it's reimbursed money, so we may have to use a line for short term. Do you know if that's right?
I know Cherry's on who could answer that. I don't know if we have some or not.
Hey, Cherry. Hello, Cherry.
I see her icon there.
I'm pretty well.
I'm here. Wait, So
Yeah,
we
keep-
have not received.
There you go.
We have not received the funds yet for that specific project. So we're still waiting for FEMA to give us the funds, but that has been allocated already.
Yeah. So it's allocated, and if it doesn't come in for short term, we may need to use our line to supplement some of the contractors. Some of them aren't too antsy about it, and they'll wait 30 or 60 days sometimes, but some of them need to be paid sooner.
We're getting the building reimbursement faster than we thought too. The MERP grant gets paid quicker, so that couple hundred, there's like 250, 300,000 coming.
Oh, that helps a lot.
This year, yeah.
That helps a lot. Helps our line, keep our line down. So,
Are any of these more important than others? Or are they all important?
no, they
Mission
might be, but I think we have them spread out and sorted out where it's really manageable. I mean, there's a lot to oversee here by our highway department, but in terms of not overloading any one contractor, we're pretty comfortable. We thought this through.
I mean, it's no real problem as long as we're confident we're gonna get the money.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the only caveat.
well.
If for some reason we don't get half of it, then
Yep, that's a problem.
we're screwed.
That'll create a problem. Yep.
Is Sherry still on? Are you still on, Sherry?
Yes, I am.
Do we have any confidence that we'll have any type of timeline in terms of when we'd get it?
Well, most of our, the projects that we have done and the reimbursements that we've submitted through FEMA, we mostly got 50% of our money. We're at like 70% already reimbursed. So there's only like at least 3 projects, and one of the projects that we don't have the money yet is that one that we're talking about, the 11 projects. But we got most of the money. There's only 3 projects left that we didn't receive any monies yet.
Any questions, Dave? All right. We got to fix our roads. We got to fix our bridges. We got FEMA money.
Is there a way to do it on like a rolling basis, start some of them and wait and see if we get any money?
The schedule's killer. I don't know. Sure there is, but we run the risk of running out of time.
No, I think it's a cash flow issue, and I think we got it covered. To me, I mean, this is like 90% off our bridge work. I mean, I think we should just go ahead and do it. You know, if we didn't take advantage of it.
I'm all for taking advantage of it. Just if for some reason we didn't get it, then what do? Then we got to pay for it.
Yep, that's correct.
Is this FEMA money already at the state? Is that the way this money flows?
That's a good question. I don't know. Sherry, do you know if the FEMA money is already in the hands of the state?
Not on this project yet. It's not been obligated yet. The other projects that we haven't got monies, they are already in the state. Those are obligated. This one has not been obligated yet. Only for this project.
Got it.
Obligated. Is there a way to get confirmation from the feds if they're going to obligate it or not?
I could send an email to our FEMA rep that I communicate from the feds to check on that, but I don't have an answer right now.
And how long do you think that'll take to get an answer from the feds on that one?
Well, some of our projects, I think, yeah, that's the only one that's not obligated. Some of them has been obligated since, like last year, but we're just waiting for the state to release the funds.
I mean, they're all states walling off and armed encampments now fighting over the scraps of Fed money because it's all drying up. So I don't know.
I don't know, I think the money's been appropriated to FEMA, would be my understanding. I'm not worried about it. I mean, they're still paying us.
I like to attack all angles.
No, it's good to ask the question.
So, yeah, so far so good. We've been doing our paperwork and submitting things on time, and Cherry's been doing an awesome job. I think we're way ahead of some other towns out there that have been struggling with it. I think because we're doing our due diligence.
It's been hard, but I think this has been a big, I mean, nobody likes to see damage, but it's been a pretty big benefit in the long term to the town. You know, eventually all that work had to be done in some way or another. It's great that, you know, we get federal money to do it instead of tax, you know, our local taxpayer money. I made a motion, so to approve, but
I'll second.
Fair enough.
good. More or less.
I guess it just hinges on the idea of obligated versus not obligated. That's my only question that I have. I mean, if it's unobligated funds, then it sounds to me that it's not been decided. It's like they're still haven't decided.
Well, I think
they could just say, no, we're not going to obligate it.
I think our original FEMA work was unobligated. You do the work and then you apply and then it becomes,
Absolutely.
you know, I think that's just the process.
Yeah.
But we'll have a FEMA contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if we didn't have a FEMA contract, I'd be nervous. If we have a contract with the federal government, I believe the federal government will honor it.
Fingers crossed.
Rick, we were working with the federal government and the Natural Conservation Board to get funding for the repair of the dam. And they told us that we were approved, but the funding has been held up since December, January. So I don't know if, one is equal to the other, but apparently the Fed has put a stop on a lot of the spending. So I don't know if it affects you.
I don't think with this project, because we just got paid at least almost $400,000, and that was in the month of April for the FEMA projects.
Yeah, I'm just saying the way Keith was pointing it out. It may be obligated, but it's not funded, or it may be funded, but it's not obligated. I don't know how they determine what. I would just be cautious about that.
As far as my understanding, when they obligate it, it means that they are sending the money to the state, and we're just waiting for the state to cut a check to us. So the money's already in the state once it's obligated.
Cherry, from your lips to God's ears.
And the bottom line is the work's gotta get done one way or another anyway, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it. But if we had to pay for it ourselves, we couldn't do them all at once, could we?
Yeah, we spread it out over years.
Right. Okay, so that's why I asked if there were some that were more important than others. Like if we had to start on the stuff that's, the worst and work our way down in case we ran out of money. I don't know.
Some of these have FEMA deadlines, and I forget which one Larry was telling me, but one or two of them had a deadline of like September 1st.
That is a dead-end road bridge, and the deadline is in August 1st.
August 1st, okay. So FEMA has put their own deadlines on some of these projects.
So they got to be completed by X date, and then.
Yeah. I don't know what happens if we don't, but I don't want to.
Yeah, the deadline was supposed to be in January of 2025, and we had to file for an extension for the other ones that are not done. And the extension is October 1st for some of them, and then dead end is August 1st.
Okay. So there's our deadline, October 1. I can't imagine how long we could sit on these and wait for more information from FEMA, but that could take all summer.
Yeah, no, and then if you have to file for another extension.
Well, then you're gonna have to wait another year anyway if you get into October, if you ain't gonna be able to finish them. Right, I mean, maybe a little bit in October, but that'll be it. Throw the ball, throw the Hail Mary, see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel pretty, I mean, I feel confident in the process.
Yeah, I do too. It's worked so far.
Yeah, it's the same thing as, you know, it's the same damage from 2023. It's the same idea, and they're continuing to pay. So it doesn't give me, I mean, the cash flow thing will give me a little anxiety in the short term, but it will be all right. Should we move on to the assessor?
So I assume we're gonna move forward then.
We seconded it.
Okay.
And Keith, you're sort of.
I mean, I'm for it, I'm just questioning the liability of the federal government to pay us, but I
Good
mean, I'm not.
question. Good question.
I
Okay.
don't say not do it, I say,
Well, sounds like we'll roll the dice and move forward. Try and get these scheduled and see if we can crank them out. There you go.
So we got another.
they're all gonna be working concurrently then.
Yes, absolutely.
Everybody's banging it out on whatever
Absolutely.
projects they're slated
There'll be
for.
4 or 5 contractors working in town this summer. Yep.
And Cherry's got capacity, right, Cherry, to manage the paperwork, the mountain?
So far she has.
Okay.
She's amazing. She's been doing a good job.
So we got another application in for the assessor?
Yeah, I saw that. Seems like most of our experience is cooking.
Do you want to interview?
I'd say, I mean, where's that resume? I mean, she did have some experience working somewhere as an assessor, but it was a long time ago, wasn't it? If I remember reading that correctly,
Real estate appraiser.
but not recently, right?
No.
It's not,
Yeah, 2001, 8.
yeah.
So
And name should be confidential unless we're in executive session.
Well, she's got 7 years of experience, just was a while ago. Doesn't disqualify her.
what if the laws, the rules in Vermont vary much from other states? Like that experience was Connecticut.
Imagine a lot of the principles are the same. I'm sure the laws are different, but the idea is probably.
Yeah.
Same concept. I mean, can't hurt to interview her.
I thought we hired an appraiser.
Maybe she'll be a
We
better,
did. This is the assistant.
Oh,
a better fit for the office.
okay.
Oh, how do you know? You don't know until you ask, interview her, or do you know her? No.
Can I make maybe a suggestion too, and I don't know, because Ryan's been working with Natasha, he's gonna have to work with this person, so maybe if you're doing an interview, maybe he be
Invite him.
involved in it.
Yep.
Good idea.
It's gonna be his.
Assistant.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. So it looks like we're gonna interview and bring our appraiser in and see if, coordinate that schedule with him. That's a good idea.
He can actually conduct the interview. I can't even lead it.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what questions to ask, to be honest. But,
Me neither.
okay. So is somebody gonna respond? You gonna ask, try and set up an interview with the appraiser
I
and,
just wanna, like, all of you wanna be there, 2 of you, because I'm just gonna have to warn a meeting.
Okay.
So if you
Yeah.
wanna let me know.
Next week or something? Yeah.
This guy's got, well, he's got to come too, right?
Correct.
So we have an update from the assessor's office, and I'll read that for the camera. From the Office of Assessors to the taxpayers and select board members of Plymouth, select board meeting June 2nd. Dear taxpayers and select board members, the Office of Assessors is pleased to report that the 2025 Grand List abstract was successfully lodged on Wednesday, May 28th. All changes of appraisal letters were mailed the same day to affected taxpayers, including the required information regarding the grievance hearings. One utility value is still pending due to a state backlog. However, according to the state, the assessment should be available this week, and the record will be updated promptly. The 2025 abstract is available for public review in the town clerk's office and on the town website. Grievance hearings are scheduled to take place on Thursday, June 12th from 9 to 2 at the town office. The hearings will also be available via Zoom, recorded and shared with the public in the same manner as other town meetings. The meeting agenda and Zoom link will be published later this week. The final lodging of the grand list will take place in a few weeks, after which the 2025 tax rate can be accurately determined. Ryan Silvestri, Town of Plymouth Assessor, and Natanya Bakhchov, Interim Assessor Assistant. That was great. I appreciate them getting that to us.
They mailed out 56 letters, they said.
so we don't need to attend the grievance hearings, right?
I believe so, no, unless there's a, it would be after that, right? And so we
Right.
formally, it goes to the Board of Adjustment or Abatement.
Okay. Good. Progress.
All right. So I'm going to give an update on the lawsuit Tepperman versus the town of Plymouth. And it's a little bit in legal language from Andrew Snow. This is a reply in response to opposition to motion to dismiss. Okay, something happened here.
So he's out of Mube's office, right?
Yes,
He's
Andrew
on our
Snow.
side.
Yep. And for some reason, it's not popping up. Downloaded. No. I think it's because I'm logged out of my mail again.
And they had filed a motion to dismiss that, didn't they?
They did.
I guess it didn't pan out.
Yeah, I can't, for some reason, I can't get this to pop up. I had it before I came here. I don't know if it's the internet. Anyhow, yeah, they said they filed a motion to dismiss. Apparently the court has to approve something. The bottom line is we're about $10,000 into this lawsuit.
Really?
Yep. And our attorney told them a while back that we would be suing to recover those costs if they continued. And so the court, that will also be in what our attorney files. We're going to go after, try to get our $10,000 back.
That added up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So was there any new decision from the court yet?
Not yet. That was the latest thing. I just got that from Friday.
Okay.
I will just read this. So I asked for it in a little bit plainer language. And it said, they are seeking to have a court rule that Bethany Birches is not entitled to the property tax exemption. But Attorney Gustafson, which is Pepperman's attorney, do not seem to understand the process required to challenge the tax exempt status, or seem to think they can circumvent the statutorily required process to challenge the tax exempt determination simply by being vague in their allegations. To the extent they are now claiming that they are not challenging the town's vote, which was the only specific action by the town identified in the complaint, they fail to identify any other action decision by the town or its agents that they are challenging, and simply continue to pursue the complaint despite presenting no argument as to why the statutory procedures and timelines do not apply. While motions to dismiss are disfavored by the courts, we think this is a pretty clear case and hope that the court will agree. And that's also why he said the sanctions are appropriate as well. So recovering our funds.
Well,
Okay. The bridge update, I forwarded that those to you. I've got this on Friday.
why don't you send it?
Probably like 4 o'clock today. Let's just check an email.
Okay.
Do you want me to read this as well?
You summarize it,
Okay.
in words, if you want.
So it's all the bridges. Talks about the public meeting. I'll skip down to this part of it and give you a little bit. Federal regulations require that these ER projects have an accelerated schedule to obligate funds. So again, federal money involved, and receive the 81% federal share for the projects. In order to meet this requirement, project impacts need to be reduced to expedite the permitting and right-of-way processes. Maintaining traffic off and alignment temporary bridges increases the project footprint, adding permitting and right-of-way acquisition risk to the project schedule, jeopardizing funding. So I'll cut to the chase down here. Both Route 100 and 100A provide access to US 4, and each serves as a detour while bridge work is being done on the other. This provides full access for property owners and emergency services. V-Trans will work with the emergency services to minimize impacts to response times. Okay. The closures along Vermont 100 bridges 100A, 4, 7, and 9 will be scheduled during the summer school break to avoid impacts to the school bus schedule. Bridge 9 is currently in the construction phase, and the closure will be from July 7th to August 17th, and 4 and 7 will be constructed in 2027, so 2 years from now. Bridge 112 will have a 14-day closure from May 15th, 2026 to May 29th, 2026. Bridge 116 will have a 44-day closure from August 12th, 2026 to September 25th. This time frame keeps Vermont 100 open during part of the early summer and fall foliage season. And then they gave us the updated fact sheet that you can put up. So I don't think this helps Greg Markowski trying to get his material to Killington. So I did write him and said, do you want to, if there is like this opportunity to put in a temporary bridge, and we could do the same thing on 100A, although time is getting short. I mean, maybe there's a way to talk to the landowner and put in a temporary bridge.
We're on private land, you mean?
Yeah.
100A would be extremely challenging right now. I mean, I'm a neighboring property owner, and if it was as simple as allowing them to use more of my land to put in a temporary bridge, I would do that in a heartbeat. But the topographic slopes are going to restrict any expansion of the project.
Okay.
And I know there's ledge there. Oh boy, it would
just be a deal.
It would be a project.
Okay.
It would be challenging, as far as I can tell.
Okay. That would have been a tough one to put a temporary bridge in on.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know the structure, most of it's precast. I'm sure it's already been ordered. It's already in the queue. It's already scheduled for delivery. So they can start erection as scheduled. And I just can't see any changes happening on that one.
Do you all want to make any official response to this letter? I said, thank you, we got this. Appreciate you getting back to us quickly, but is there anything?
I get the feeling we're wasting our time. If they're going to use the threat of losing funding as an argument, that's going to be pretty hard to counter.
Do they have any funds in their project budget to cover the additional emergency services impact? Because I think local ambulance is gonna have to cover more of the area, and I'm assuming that they're gonna want money for that.
I can tell you no. I reached out because I wanted to get the information to you, and they're not willing to put anything towards it.
And it's for, the July 7th to August 17th, so that's like 40 days.
That's the one here by Rick's house?
Yeah, 100A.
Yeah, so there's a little, maybe Ludlow might want a little bit more money, but I don't think it cost us a fortune based on the contract.
July 7th to August 14th.
Yeah.
So who's responsible for notifying like Ludlow and
I think
Bridgewater and
Dave
Woodstock?
is
And
emergency management, is that?
So Jim Allen and I are gonna meet with Chief Allen Wednesday. I don't know exactly what that meeting is gonna look like, but we'll at least have that discussion and bring it back to you guys if there's a money impact.
okay, at least somebody's got the ball.
And so that you're gonna cover fire too with that for mutual aid kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, fire is a little less of an issue, I think, because it's mutual aid, so
Yeah.
we all
No,
pitch in for mutual aid anyway, but the ambulance is a contract service, so
Yeah.
I think there's money involved there.
yep, there is.
I mean, we'll talk about the fire and the fact that they may have to cover other things or get there other ways if they're calling for mutual aid, but I don't think there's a financial impact there versus the ambulance service.
A contract came today from Woodstock Ambulance, and I sent it to Dave, so him and Jim would have that, or to him and Jim. And Ludlow Ambulance, and Ludlow Ambulance sent the mutual aid agreement that they had from years ago, which I scanned to them as well. Looks like Brendan is working on like a new type agreement, probably to look more like Woodstock's is. So that's July 1 of 25 for Woodstock Ambulance, and I don't know if there's a way that there can be a proration amount to take from Woodstock maybe and give to Ludlow. I mean, they'll talk about it, but.
For the 40 days or whatever, yeah.
But
When those contracts are up, we might wanna have a conversation about coverage zones. Cause I did a little Google Earth investigation and from a timing perspective, Woodstock Ambulance can't cover Route 100 any better than Ludlow, even all the way at the end up by Bridgewater. And as far as 100A and all the roads that shoot off of there, Woodstock Ambulance isn't any better until you get a couple of miles, I guess it's north on 100A, so towards your house, past the Coolidge Homestead. So there's quite a bit that they're responsible for right now that Ludlow could actually get to faster. And I don't know historically why those zones were set up that way. And Ludlow could get there faster, but it's probably a minute or two one way or the other, right? So it's not like significant differences, but I don't know why those coverage zones were set up that way, and we might want to reconsider those. I do think it's beneficial to have both services available, just because if Ludlow can't get out because they're doing transport or something, you can always
Yep.
dispatch Woodstock, and vice versa. If Woodstock can't get out, we can dispatch Ludlow.
We did, yeah.
A few
we
years
considered
back,
that
we talked about that,
Yeah.
trying to combine them.
when we considered the contract, yeah. I think it's good to have the redundancy. You know,
Overlapping.
yeah,
Well, it didn't work out, if I remember correctly. The math didn't work for one to assume.
right.
Didn't we explore Woodstock taking the whole thing and or Ludlow taking the whole thing?
Yep.
And it didn't work.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't
yeah,
remember
It
this.
seemed like the current setup was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it may be fine the way it is. It's just
Ah,
did the Google
can always-
Maps stuff that looked like Ludlow had a faster response time in most cases until you got out Route 100A closer to your house, right? So, just a thought.
And Japan takes your hospitals you go to are different too, right?
It depends on what you ask for, really. With Woodstock, you can go to Dartmouth, you can go to I've never ridden in a Ludlow ambulance, so I don't really know what you can.
Where you
what
go, where
can
they
ask
take
for
you.
there.
Springfield or Rutland?
Yeah. The other thing, and I don't know if you guys remember, but we pay for the uninsured patients for Woodstock. We don't for Ludlow.
I haven't seen that in a while, either, the bill for that. Have you?
I know, and I didn't even see it in their contract, but it was like $5,500 last year for Woodstock on top of their contract. And I'm not, it's about care and everything, I get, but
It was really bad post-COVID. It seemed like we got like $20,000 that one year.
So I guess I'll give you the Jim or I will go back to the Wednesday meeting and touch base on what comes out of that.
Good.
We should go
Mhm.
on. Previously, I see Patrick moving mics around, and previously we talked about getting a couple of extra mics. So when we have a formal meeting, we could set up two halfway down and one in the front, so somebody's not running around with a microphone. Does anybody object to that?
Can't we hang them?
Well,
Well, there was
it wasn't
too far.
working right.
They were too high.
Can you let
Too
them?
high. I mean, you could have them dangle, but that's not great. I mean, we could certainly put the mics we pulled out of the ceiling and put them back up the next time you have a lift here. But yeah, we pulled them because I didn't think you'd want them dangling. But even still, yeah, so that's one option. But the other option was I purchased some stuff because after we talked
Yeah,
last time, so I talked with Angela and so I just I'm trying the most basic thing and the cheapest thing possible to start. And that's using the mics that were in the ceiling. We've got a couple more of these stands. And then the next meeting, we'll have all of the supplies. And I got some of the supplies in today. And I just brought a little preamp
okay.
that'll help. And then we're gonna put a couple mics out. And so every time we come out, when we set up, we'll put a couple of these stands out with these hardwired mics. And if that's still not good enough, then we'll probably have to go with a wireless mic and pass it around. Or we can revisit dangling them from the ceiling.
So nobody else has high ceilings like us. Is that kind of it? And if you have a
These
lower-
are the highest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, well, when you originally did the project, we put them in, but the ceilings were at just whatever, 9 foot.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so these mics worked at that height,
Yeah.
but not at whatever height that is. They're just too far away.
Yeah.
And we have only one wireless mic, but this is only as good as people use it. So you either have to have people come up to the mic, or we literally gotta walk around with it, and that's not really always practical.
And they don't have a special mic for high ceilings.
You could still, it's never gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be that far away, and if you had a preamp like this that would boost the sound, you'll still get all that unwanted white noise, that ambient noise, and that would also be elevated. But that could work.
Can't you like have someone just press the button and they just Drop down.
And drop down, yeah. I mean, but if you did want to be, if you were okay with them dangling, I just didn't think you would be because it was kind of unsightly. They would have to dangle down quite a ways. I don't what. What? I don't know. But anyway, after we talked the last meeting, I put together an order. I ran it by Angela. I think it was a couple $100. That'll actually drastically improve the sound. It should drastically improve the sound. And I didn't get all the stuff in time for this meeting.
Okay.
So the next meeting it should
So the idea is we're using the existing mics, we just gotta get some stands and a little bit of hardware.
a little bit of hardware, and I
Cable.
think, and we'll have them so that we'll have a mic. And it'd be great if she had her own mic,
Yes, it would.
because you do speak up more than I think you want to.
Okay.
So, yeah, having one of these or putting a mic like that on the stand, and just leaving it, so I'm not kinda, that also doesn't sound great when I'm moving it around. I think the people on Zoom could probably attest to that. Anyway, that's,
So hardwiring, Patrick, that would involve going from here and maybe along the wall and over to a stand.
yeah, well, we have this microphone snake, which is where your microphones are plugged into. And whenever we come out and do a meeting, we'd have 2 more of these stands, and we would just set up 2 microphones, run them to that snake, and then that's good. That would be
Okay.
good.
Okay,
With these existing microphones, but they need a preamp and they need an adapter,
okay.
and then we'll be good. And then if you
Well-
decide that it's not good enough, then I don't know, we'll have to look at it.
Oh, the magic thing, we press the button and they
Exactly.
drop down.
We're kind of happy.
Anything is possible as long as there's a budget, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
Hire somebody to go up there and lower them, lay up there during the meeting.
we got overhead doors that go, yeah, right, a little pulley. We could
Get a kid or something. I'll get my kid to go up there and pay him $10 an hour. Just
Don't wait.
lower the cable down.
Well, it sounds like we're halfway there, and I would suggest that we continue and let's give it a try and see how it works. It seems to be the most economical fix right now.
It is, yeah.
It'll work. I will just buy a bunch of wireless mics,
Oh, and remember I was talking about the
rechargeable batteries.
rechargeable batteries, we finally got them. Yeah, so we won't be having to worry about running out of battery power, juice in this thing, which is,
Okay, somebody's on a roll. You don't want them to get-
So if they die in the middle of a meeting, you have spares in that?
yeah, so I got 4 of these AA, and that takes 2. So
Okay.
I'm always gonna be we'll always have 2 charging.
Yeah, gotcha. Thank
There you
you.
go.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
I mean, you could, how much are them wireless mics these days?
That one is a nice one, and that is probably with this and the receiver, I don't know, like $240 or something. It's a good one, but it's meant to be, it's a vocal mic, so it really needs to be close
Or
up.
you gotta hold it.
Which is like, like last month's or the meeting 2 weeks ago, it was impossible to get it close enough to, because people were just talking, in a full room. It's not gonna cover a whole room.
You ever notice how some microphones, maybe it's only outdoors, they have like a fuzzy cover on them? I just wonder.
Windscreen.
Yeah, it's a wind,
That's what that is,
it's a
okay.
wind muff, to
Yeah.
filter out the wind noise. And they work great.
Huh.
You don't need one here, though.
Okay.
Do you want one anyway? We
I
can
don't know,
get
I just,
that.
depends on how much wind we get here.
Plymouth. We get mic flags, with Plymouth on a channel. Plymouth channel.
Yeah.
I think that brings us to warrants and mail, anything else?
Okay. I'll make anything for executive session? Not that I know of. Okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yeah, go for it. We just gotta sign them at once, right?
Thanks for coming, Dave.
To keep you guys calm.
Oh, boy. Wait a second. I had to put that there.
Mr. Chairman.
See you, Dave. Good luck negotiating.
These are gotta go back to Jay. I'm gonna put the fully signed ones over here.
Okay, gotcha.